That's crazy. Yo, I literally learned how to catch catfish from this channel.
That's awesome.
What's going on, everybody? We are live. Welcome. I guess that was my way of letting everybody know that I got hats. And if you guys are interested in a catfish and crappie hat, just email me at mark@catfish and crappie. I need your shipping address. I'll use your email address. I'll bill you through PayPal. I sold about a third of them out over the weekends. We also got bait towels. Hats are $25. Bait towels are $16, not including shipping. I'll invoice you through PayPal. So if you're interested in them, I know a lot of people were, contact me that way. That's what you got to do. I also want to thank Honolulu's Catfish Adventures. She became a new member. Thank you, Honolulu, for your support. I really appreciate it. Let's say hello to some people in chat. Freddie, what do you say, bud?
Let's do it.
All right, let me get my list up here. Here we go. We got Big Wrench Catfishing in the house. I need to give a big shout out to Betty Cross over at A Couple Crosses Fishing. I need to say hello to D at Get Hooked on Fishing with D, or Get Hooked on D Fishing. I'm gonna get in trouble for that, Freddie. Big Wrench Catfish. Oh, there's Annette's. There's Big Wrench. There's Brian B, channel supporter. He's part of the CNC crew. What's up, Brian? Thank you for your support. Carmel Muncie in the house. Chris Everett. What's up, Chris? Chucky Morgan. There's my buddy Creole Catfishing, who got a PB this weekend. 63-pound blue cat. Impressive. Way to go, bud. I'm happy to be your friend. I'm honored to be your friend. Danny Stone Outdoors. What's up, Danny? How you doing, my friend? Danny sent me some stickers I got some this week. They were just here. Cool stickers. I think I put them in my to be put on my boat pile. Actually, I think I did. Thank you, Danny. I appreciate it, buddy. Contact Danny Stone for some of his merch. Check him out on Facebook too and YouTube. Double Hook Angling. What's going on, Dave? How are you? There's Chad over at Fields to Water. Hey, Freddie, if it doesn't work out over at the bait shop, give me a call.
Sounds like a plan there, Mark.
I think we can do that. We'll talk more. Fishing Freedom. He's also a CNC crew member. Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it, Richard. There's Halana. Look at that with the brand new crew member icon next to her name. There's my buddy James Alba. What's up, James? How you doing? I got to highlight that one right there. Got too much stuff going on here. John Boy's Catfishing in the house. Lance McCoo guy got a PB Burbot this weekend up there in the great state of Wisconsin. Congratulations, Lance. There's my buddy Tom over at LG Bass. He's also a CNC crew member. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it very much. There's my buddy Mad Cat or Catfishing. What's going on, Richard? How you doing? Mid Tennessee Hog Catcher, another CNC crew member. Thank you for your support. There's my buddy Maurice Kaysen. What's up, Maurice? There's Mr. Murillo from Murillo Family Fishing. There's Roger from Muskrat Adventures. There's the great Miss Melissa. How you doing? There's my buddy Jesse over at Outdoors Addiction. P&B Catfishing, a.k.a. Paul Boyd in the house. What's up, Paul? How you doing? Everything's moving. I'm Real and Virtual Outdoors. What's going on, Troy? Thanks for sharing out links as always. The great Mr. Legend, Kenneth Powell over at Takedown Catfishing. There's CNC crew member Tim Molina. How you doing, Tim? What's up, Tim? Good people over there. He was telling me about a little something he has in his cabinet. We'll talk later. There's Daryl over at Trophy Seekers Outdoors. Uptown Chrissy Brown, crew member. How you doing, Miss Chrissy? There's Steffi, Real Gals Fish, the Mississippi that is. There's Kelly over at the Bullock Experience. Carmel Muncie just came in. There's my buddy Bobcat from Bobcat Outdoors. What's up, Bob? Chris Everett in the house. Going through the list here real quick. I want to say hello to Lyle. I know he's listening. He's always out there listening. What's up, buddy? How you doing, Cindy? Mike Sampson. What's up, Sampy? I think I got... If I missed you, I apologize, folks. We're going to get the show started here. Welcome to the Catfish and Crappie Podcast. My name is Mark, and today's guest is Mr. Freddie Beck. Let me give a shout out real quick to Get Hooked on D-Fishing. She's been a channel supporter for 19 months. I also want to give Uptown Chrissy Brown. She's been a channel supporter for 17 months. Thank you very much for your support, guys. You guys are awesome. Awesome. Freddie Beck. Freddie, what's going on, bud? How are you, man?
Doing great, Mark. Doing great. Well, now I am.
Me and Freddie are friends outside of this, and we talk quite a bit. We've had some interactions. So he's going to be looking at me real funny here on YouTube because he knows I know the answer to some of these questions, but I'm trying to entertain the people out there in the chat box and in the podcast world. So bear with me, Freddie, all right?
All righty.
All right, Freddie. Oh, look at this. Muskrat says FOA loves kids. We'll get into that definitely. Where are you from, Freddie?
Well, originally and still live here in South Carolina.
I've never been to South Carolina, but I think I'd like it there.
You probably would. It's nice and warm for the most of the year. You know, I think today we 62 or 63 degrees. I think tonight we're getting down to 45, 46.
It's not that bad here tonight. It's 39 degrees end of November. It could be worse. We've already had ice on all the ponds and even on some of the river backwaters and stuff, so I can't complain. Everything's melted back down. I'm going fishing tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. Hold on, we got a question from the Weekend Angler, Josh. Question for Freddie. Is it really fun to stay at the YMCA, or is it just for a show?
It's always fun to stay at the YMCA.
There you go. You used to be a DJ, weren't you, Freddie? I can tell.
I was back in my younger days when I could move.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your background in fishing. How'd you get started? What drives your passion?
Well, you know, being from the South here, you know, that's one of the things we did growing up. My grandma actually taught me how to fish when I was 2.5, 3 years old. She had 3 little small ponds and, you know, fish for whatever we could catch. And then I went to the Navy, come out the Navy and, you know, kind of lost touch with the fishing a little bit, but got out the Navy and found this wonderful YouTube community of the catfishing. And a buddy of mine, you were a friend of his too, James Smith, Patriot Catfishers. He got me hooked back into it. Me and him are both gold prospecting buddies, and he started getting into catfishing. And I kind of rode his coattail in and started getting into it. And since I've hung out with him and met this community, it's just it's hooked me. You know, I rarely fish for anything other than catfish, occasional bluegill or some crappie or something. But my main target lately has been nothing but catfish.
And how you liking that?
Oh, I love it. That's all I can say. I love it. You know, it's great. You whether it be a 1 pound channel cat or in my case a 50-pound blue, the fight to me is exciting either way. Each one of the type of catfish fights a different way, and every bite is exciting regardless the size of it.
We got people already talking some river versus river smack in the chat, so we'll get to it, fellas. We'll get to it. Danny, point taken too. Sorry about those listening on the podcast. I just got to address some of this stuff. Actually, let's do this. KMB Angler says, for question for Freddie, how did it feel to be on the winning team this weekend?
Well, we got to give our podcast people what it was about. We have a river versus river battle going on, and I was part of the mighty mini Cooper River here in South Carolina, and we took on the super amazing Ohio River, which we did a little smackdown on them. We took them to the shed and sent them home packing. So the smallest river in this tournament moves on over one of the longest rivers in this tournament. So it was quite awesome.
Wow.
I should say.
Hold on a second. Let's take a step back just so people know. This is a river versus river tournament that's being hosted by Brian B over at Brian B Catfishing. He's having it on multiple people's channels and stuff. It's pretty a cool event. And we'll go back to the what was it? The first one? It was the Mississippi versus the James, right? Was that the first one?
Potomac. The Potomac versus the Mississippi.
Potomac versus the Mississippi. That was a bloodbath. I don't know how else to explain it. Sorry, all my Mississippi fans out there and everybody in chat, but they were having a hard time with the water being real low. And I've heard all sorts of other reasons that the guys were giving me, but the Potomac crew just kind of dominated and really took over that event. And then the next one was...
That was the James versus the Tennessee.
James versus the Tennessee, where Bobcat won that. I mean, the Tennessee won that, right?
That's right.
And then this week it was the Cooper versus the Ohio River, and you were on the Cooper River team, correct?
Yes, sir. You know, we had a good little group. It's 4 boats per team, and 2 of our 4 boats had only been on that water once or twice. So fresh waters for a couple of us down there. So it made it a little challenging.
Well, you had a pretty good Joey, and you were on your Joey's boat, actually, weren't you?
Oh yeah, that made it a lot better. He knew the river a whole lot better than me. However, I got to point out, even though he knows the river, I picked the spots we were fishing, and it was based off of just looking at Navionics and the 1 or 2 times I'd been on it prior to that, and marked a couple spots I wanted to fish, and we fished 2 of those. We fished 5 hours and only hit 2 spots, but we had enough out of those 2 spots to get the biggest bag.
I could tell the excitement from you, Freddie. When I was watching, I saw you. Somebody said fish on. I saw you get up out of that chair so darn quick and set that circle hook. I was like, "Oh, did Freddie just set a circle hook?"
Yeah, that was like the 3rd fish, and what the people didn't see is when we got it in the net, the hook come out. It was whisker hook because I did set a circle hook, which you're not supposed to do. So I about ripped it out of his mouth.
That'll happen. You get excited. I even find myself doing that. If anybody calls me out on that, I'll deny it. It's no lie. That's definitely no lie. Well, those are always fun to watch. So what's the next matchup?
Well, round 1 is over. So your winners from round 1, which are the Tennessee River, the Potomac River, and the Cooper River, move on, and the most weight out of the losers moves on with us to make the top 4, which would be the James River. And so the second round is going to be a rematch of the first round with the James taking on the Tennessee. And then the second match is going to be the mighty Potomac versus the little Cooper. So we're going to take the smallest river and try to go against one of the powerhouse rivers again.
Do you think you got what it takes?
I do. If our river is on, we should be able to keep up with them, not a problem. You know, the Ohio had a bad weekend. They were fighting fog for the first couple hours, and
did I lose you, Freddie?
Because that's
I lost you for a second, Freddie.
Oh, well, I'm back. Hopefully my internet hangs on. We've been having a little bit of crazy internet issues. I don't know why. We ain't got no bad weather, but yeah, so I'm hoping the little Cooper can hang in there with the mighty Potomac.
That'll be an upset if it happens. So good luck to you guys over there on the Cooper. Who's all on the Cooper team?
Well, that first off, we'd have our team captain would be Mr. Palmetto Cat Kevin. So he's got his boat, and this past weekend he didn't have a Joey. Our second boat was Kevin Canby Anglers, and our buddy Bill was his Joey, so they were on one boat. Then we had Jimmy Smith, former Santee Drifters. He was on his boat by himself, and then you had me as the 4th boat with my Joey / partner Jeremy's Tournament Cat. So
Jeremy's a competitor. He does a lot of tournament fishing. So you like I said, you picked really well when you had him on when you were on his boat, I should say, but when you had him on your team. And Muskrat just saying that December 17th, which happens to be my birthday, it's the James River versus the Tennessee River on Muskrat Adventures. Cool. And Danny Stone's birthday is today. Happy birthday, Danny Stone. Thanks for coming in. I'd be doing something else if it was my birthday. I want to be hanging out with us 2 bozos on here. So, and Justin's fishing fetish just came in. Yeah, the tournament stuff's pretty cool. That kind of leads me to talk to you a little bit about. You've taken a part in some of my tournaments, right? Namely, let's talk about the Size Matters Crappie Tournament. Did you have fun in that one? That's one
Oh,
that I plan on having every year.
it was a blast. You know, like I said, I've been targeting catfish, so changing over to target a smaller species like crappie. See, I said it for you, Betty, crappie, not crappie. So was interesting. You know, I went out a couple days prior just to try to find fish for one, but it was exciting. You know, those little fish can fight.
They
And
taste good too.
oh, they're great tasting.
Not the
And
hardest fish.
luckily I ended up winning that one, you know.
You
It was a
did.
good tournament.
You even made your own trophy, which I appreciate. Freddie does a lot of wood burnings and carvings, which he's been doing a lot of, and Freddie sent me a whole set of them. Right behind me, if you're watching on the video podcast, is my 23.5-pounder Chad that Freddie sent me to commemorate my PB channel cat. I was real happy to get that from Freddie. And also he had made one for winning the Size Matters tournament for himself. I'm going to have him take care of me next year, guys. So we'll have some trophies that way. And that was a fun one. That was a one-day event. It was kind of like one and done, and you pulled it off, and you had some pretty good competition in that too. So hopefully we'll get that to grow next year. But since you did win, you're going to be grandfathered in next year. So hopefully you'll have that. We'll have to talk and see when it's available. We're going to try and get it on the spring spawn, make it real interesting. That would be good. I see Fishing with Squirrel in there. I'm pretty sure he's going to, he's already saying you're going down next year, Freddie.
Yeah, he almost caught me right there at the end. He got on quite a few of them right there close to the end. He was down by, I think, 4 or 5 fish, and within the last 30 minutes, he was down by, I think, 1. I think he only lost to me by 1 or 2. So
Hey, Dawson's no joke when it comes to crappie fishing. He loves it probably. Well, I'm pretty sure he loves it more than me, and I love it a lot. So, you also got a chance to go in the March Madness 1-versus-1 this year, which is kind of like the flagship event and the pretty much a cornerstone of my channel here on YouTube. I kind of proud myself in the 1v1 being born here. Of course, you know, Chad did the online tournaments prior to that as far as the Catfish family goes. But I do like which that video that we played before we started the podcast was technically the very first 1-versus-1 where I got my butt handed to me by James Dockery. There, I said it, James. He's happy when I say it, so we'll have to say that out there. So then we went and we had a couple of them. We had the Survivor Series, which Creole won the first one, and then we did March Madness, which was the last one we did in March. Weather made it quite the task. It was rough. We had to reschedule a few days, but for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, it's a multi-day event where it's like a bracket tournament. You move on. You get to call out the members left in the pool, and the 1-versus-1 contestants in each pair get to make up their own rules for the most part outside of the other rules. And you made it all the way to the end, didn't you, Freddie?
I did. I ended up with that silver medal, that second place.
It's something that some of us are really familiar with, Stan, right? Stan's kind of prides himself on always coming in second. That's a good place to be. It's better than being last, that's for sure. So how did it feel to go up against the bus driver Creole himself?
It was fun. You know, I'm hoping to get another chance to go at him this in the next one, because I got some fish, but I didn't catch what I needed to. I think I got some different waters to fish the next time. It'll be a different story. I'll just say
really? Are you gonna you're gonna reach out to some friends, maybe go fishing with them for it?
Well, I'm hoping to have a little bit bigger boat by the next one.
Pontoon Jody says, if there is one thing I would change, it would be Freddie had an adult-sized cowboy hat on instead of a kid size.
Oh, it is adult, Jody.
My sister Betty Jean just came in. She's making explanations in chat by why she's right. I understand, Betty. I understand. Josh, the Weekend Angler, just showed up too. Josh has a bunch of tournaments on his channel. Make sure you check out the Weekend Angler as well here on YouTube. So you made it all the way to the end. And how did it feel to go up against the big gun, the bus driver, the Creole madman? How was that? Were you intimidated?
A little bit. I'm not gonna say I wasn't. I was. He fishes on the mighty Mississippi and some of its other offset rivers, the Apalachia and whatever else you want to call it.
Echapuchupi, what? Bonpache River? I'm not quite
Yeah,
sure how to say that.
all those weird name Louisiana rivers down there. So, and he's caught a lot of big fish. And me being kind of new to the sport, I haven't caught many big fish. So, it was definitely a little nerve wracking, but hanging in with him for the most part the whole day, it made me feel a lot better. Got me more confident anyway.
That water must be coming up on the Mississippi because he did well this weekend.
Well, he wasn't on the Mississippi this weekend. He was on the Apalachia, or however you want to say it.
That's pretty much that breaks off from this. If what he's the way he's explained it to me, I could be wrong. So a Chaffalaya, I believe it said. That's what it is. Have to forgive me, folks, in podcast land. I'm just a city boy from outside of Chicago, which Chad doesn't let me live down. So tell me a little bit about your online stuff. How's your channel going? What do you got going on there?
Well, it's been kind of a off year as far as doing lives and a lot of videos because I kind of switched focus to a couple of things, like you said earlier, my wood burnings and things like that.
Oh.
That's I wanted, but so I'm hoping to start doing a little bit more of that next year and get a little more content out, both on YouTube and on the TikTok side. I hit 1,000 subscribers over on TikTok a couple weeks ago, so I want to show a little bit of love on both the YouTube and the TikTok side.
And I put your YouTube link in the description. What's your TikTok handle?
It's I believe it's just Freddie's Outdoors. I couldn't get the whole part in there, so.
And on YouTube, it's Freddie's Outdoor Adventures. Make sure you check them out. Hey, before we go any further, I got to make sure I shout out the channel sponsors and support. I want to thank Fishbrain for their sponsorship. I also want to thank Uncle Loose Tackle. I want to thank Colton over at Multibar. I want to thank JT and Jimmy Forbes over at Port Barrington Marina. And last but not least, I want to thank Matthew over at Amped Outdoors. Without them, the show would not be possible. You guys are great. I appreciate you. So thank you again, everybody. Thank you to all the channel members as well, because I see Betty is a channel supporter, a Catfish and Crappie crew member for 19 months now. Thanks, sis. I appreciate it. And it looks like, oh yeah, I did that. I timed out Pontoon Jody. In your defense. And also, I think she's been drinking. I don't know if she should be typing and drinking at the same time.
She's been on a roll tonight.
She has. She's definitely out of her way. So what have you been doing on the TikTok side? You do any lives there yet?
Haven't done a live. Like I said, I just hit 1,000. So I'm trying to work some time in to do a YouTube live in the next week or two, and then also get me my very first TikTok live, hopefully.
Yeah, my very first TikTok live. I mean, very first fishing TikTok live. Those who know about the other ones, which I'm kind of embarrassed of. It's another long story. And I want to thank the people that were watching that paid my bar tab that night. That was a good time. That was a lot of fun. I got a 1-week ban over there for some ridiculous reason. I don't know why. So be careful when you're on TikTok live, what you say. I don't even know what I said. I went back, watched the replay. I couldn't tell. I think I just had some haters come in and report me for something. Anyways, it happens. Definitely happens. And then that Catfish Karen, I had some problems with him on there too, but that's another story. We know who we're talking about, people in chat, don't we? Look at that. Look at this. I think that one's living in infamy. I got people in chat saying, like Betty saying, what about the very first TikTok live? Yeah. Danny Stone apparently was watching it too. I think Brian B was there too. He was getting a kick out of it. I'm not going to say that. Nobody needs to know any of that other stuff. It's always embarrassing. So, you know what I'm really interested in, Freddie, is that boat of yours. I kind of was around when you first got that boat, and I watched you kind of rework that boat. Where'd you get that boat?
Well, being new to the community and not having a boat, fellow YouTuber Lee Evans upgraded his boat and had that one sitting around, and actually gave it to me as a gift, which, you know, that right there alone means a lot to me. And the motor on it, and the trolling motor, and the big motor that was on it, the 5-horse, J-Dog's Gone Fishing had put on it, and he gave those to me as well. So I got a free boat and a free trolling motor and a free regular motor. I just had to drive out to Kentucky and get it, and got it back. It needed some work, so had to do some work on it.
So what size is that boat?
It's a 15-foot 1-inch total length.
Okay. And you had that 5-horsepower motor on there, and you were a competitor in that little boat, which is why it tickles me to death to talk to you about it, because you got people like me that want to get live scope and have everything known to man, and then somebody comes along like you and outfishes them. We got a couple of guys out here on the Fox River, got a little like 36-inch wide John boat, and them guys are always hauling in big old flatheads. It's hard to keep up with them kids, but it goes to show you that I guess it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog, right?
Yep.
And Creel says, and thus the Freddie Express was born. So what are some of the things that you did to that boat since you got it?
Well, first thing we did was it was that metallic blue coloring, and really didn't care for that color too much. So we painted the whole underneath a jet black, and then on the top we painted it purple, being that's my wife and my favorite color. So the top of it's purple. Then we actually had a soft spot in it, so we ripped up the floor and found some bad water damage in the wood. So we ripped the whole interior out, refoamed the whole thing because the foam had been soaking wet. So refoamed it, refloored it, put new carpet in it, and that alone took a couple 100 pounds off it. So it sits about 6 inches higher out the water than it used to. And then I made a rod rack off the back, a handmade rod rack. It worked pretty well. And then last but not least, before I upgraded the motor and stuff, we put lights all the way down the side.
Yeah, you sure did, didn't you?
We've got purple, we got yellow, we've got orange, we got red, so and blue. So we've got 5 different colors running down the side of that boat. And if I flip them all on, it looks like a UFO going across the water.
For Jody with the $1.99 super chat, she says, nice hat, Freddie. I guess she's back. Telling you, I think she was drinking tonight. The people in chat are going crazy. She was saying all those things about chat. Somebody told me that she's going to be the new co-host on the bait shop.
You know, there is a rumor going around about that I might have lost my job after I put a whooping on Chad in Ohio this past weekend, that I might have lost my co-hosting job. So
we'll talk about the bait shop a little bit in a second. So yeah, I remember when you were putting the new floor in that boat, I was thinking to myself, that's a big job, but you had it done fairly quick. How long did it take you to pull all that flooring up, pull all the flotation out of it, and replace all of that stuff?
It took about a day and a half to rip it all out, because that foam, as you know, it's glued into that fiberglass. So it was a lot of scraping and elbows into that, and putting it back together didn't take much time at all, but getting it out. So all in all, it took about a week to get it all ripped out and refoamed and refloored. So
that was pretty impressive, to say the least. So, and you also didn't you line it also with the Line-X stuff too?
We once we got it all the old foam out, we got it all the way down to the fiberglass hull, and we rhino lined it all, and then actually put some board studs across the side, across through the middle of it, just to give it some more stability. And then we refoamed it, rhino lined on top of that foam, and then rhino lined the plywood, and then put the carpet on top. So it should last.
Yeah, that rhino liner, I was worried that stuff quote unquote weighs a lot, but you proved me wrong, because I know that boat, like you were saying, sits like 6 inches higher than it was before that, right?
Yeah.
Apparently water weighs a lot more than rhino liner. I guess I was wrong there. Didn't think that went through. We got people out there. Melissa is sharing out your link. We appreciate it. I want to remind everybody to check out Freddie's Outdoor Adventures. If you're not subbed to him, just look him up on YouTube. Links down in the description. Links being posted out here in chat. So they're all talking about Lee Evans and what he might have done to that boat before you got it. We're not going to get into all of that, fellas. Wow.
We'll just say that's one of the reasons the carpet got changed out.
There you go. Probably a safe bet. What'd you make your rod rack out of?
Well, it's Harbor Freight roller stands for wood is the main beams on the side, and then the cross beam across the back of it's actually a bed frame railing that I cut the ends off of and welded to it. So
yeah, because it looks pretty good. You that little boat of yours, you get a lot of rods running at the same time, don't you?
I usually run 8 to 10 off the back and back side of it, and then I can run another 8 off the front if I want. So I can run 16. I got 16 rod holders on that little bitty boat.
How do you not get a line all caught up when you cast off of that thing? It's like everywhere you turn, there's a rod rat or a rod holder.
It's a chess game. We'll just say it's a chess game.
I can imagine. I think I run 4 on mine. I think, and I got 2 in the front, and I'm always getting hooked up that way. There's no way I could ever do that. I'd be throwing gear into the river like Chadwick if that was the case. I'd always be getting snagged up. I was kind of looking at Chad here real quick, and the lights. You said, how many batteries you need to run all them lights on that UFO you call a boat?
Well, it depends on if I'm going to be out all night. I've got the little small 12 volt, 8 mAh little square batteries that you run your power wheels or whatnot off of. And usually 2 of those will last me all night. So about 4.
Are they like
hours.
like ice fishing batteries, those types?
Yeah.
Okay.
They run the kind for ice fishing or like your trail cams for deer hunting.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I know it lights up pretty good. So, and you also said you added the new motor. What do you have on there now?
Yeah, we went from a 5 horsepower Johnson to a 25 horsepower Johnson. So that's a big kick going from 5 mile an hour up to about 15. So
you'll actually get that up to 15. Huh? You thought you might be able to go a little quicker, but I guess that feels like a speed record after going 5 miles an hour.
It does. The old boat's a tri-hull, so it's got that double V bottom basically. So it don't really cut through water, more plows through water. So you're not going to get a whole lot more speed out of it unless I would have went to like a 40 horse or something like that. But
do you get on plane with that motor? Are you able to?
I do now. I actually had to put the stabilizers on the back of the actual motor. The fins, okay. The hydrofoil fins. There we go.
What is that? They also called the whale tail. They put right on the motor.
Yeah, okay. I got the smallest set, so they're only 6 or 8 inches wide, but it actually helps me get on plane in about 40 yards, 50 yards.
I thought for a minute you were going to tell me you put trim tabs on that boat. I thought that would be great.
No, I went from the biggest change I put on it this past week was I went from old tiller style trolling motor to actually have a remote style trolling motor, so I'm not having to run from the front of the boat to the back of the boat when I'm dragging baits now. So
that makes a difference, doesn't it? It's like night and day.
Well, I haven't used it yet. I got it installed, and then we went on JTC's boat for the tournament. So I'm going to get it out one day this week to actually do some testing on it and
so you guys actually put it on Jeremy's boat for the tournament, huh?
No, he's got his own. I put it on my boat. And I drove my boat down just in case we needed it for the tournament. We didn't end up using it, so I still have yet to put it in the water with the new trolling motor. But I'm excited about
that. When I first got my boat, I had a pedal control. It came with a foot pedal control trolling motor. And the first place I took that boat was an all electric lake, and it was me and my buddy and his 2 kids, and it was a nightmare. I kid you not. 2 weeks later, I had an Altera on that boat. I had a beg and plead with the chief financial officer here at the house. I had to make all sorts of promises, including foot rubs and stuff. But we got it done, and I don't think I'd ever turn back. I might go with a Tarova next time, but I got no complaints about this Altera. What'd you end up getting to put on the boat?
Well, I didn't really want to go with the Minn Kota, the big name brand just off the bat, because it's an older model boat, and I'm going to upgrade here soon. So we went with the little off brand, that Aquios Haswig. Still a good trolling motor. There's quite a few big name YouTubers that use it. Downside, it don't have spot lock, but it does everything else that the other ones do. And
Yeah, I think that's the one that Chris Flores runs, isn't it?
yeah, and that's one of the reasons I got it, watching his videos and him doing some reviews on it. And I'd say just playing with it in the yard, it's wow. I think it's going to be more impressive than I think it is.
Yeah, I think I remember a video of him when he got the first one, and then he upgraded it to get like the spot lock and the remote control, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. They've got to step up where it has a spot lock and all that on it. But I've got the lowest version of it, just something with that remote instead of having to hand steer from the front, watching rods in the back. So,
well, you're doing fine with what you got. I mean, you won the Size Matters. You came in second place in the March Madness in that little boat. So I think it's treating you pretty well.
It is, and it's caught quite a few big fish off of it too. So I'm happy with it.
Big fish. All right. I don't really talk too much about personal bests and stuff, but I know some people like to tell us. Let's hear your personal best, Freddie.
Oh, okay. Let's see. My blue is now 52.6. Flathead is 25.7, and Channel Cat is 18.4.
Those are all pretty respectable fish. Congratulations. You got plaques for each one of those fish, I hope?
No.
You need to make them up for yourself, not just for everybody else.
Well, I've got Nina's 46 on that I've done hers, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting on my big fish. I'm trying to hit that over 80 pound is what I'm wanting for a blue.
I got a set. Well, I got set weights in my head about when I'd go visit a taxidermist. And obviously, I'd get replicas made. I think a 30-pound Channel Cat will look good behind me. I think a 70-pound flathead would look good behind me. I don't fish for blues enough, so I have no idea what size blue cat, but I from the look of Luke Henge's 100 and something pounder, that takes up an awful lot of real estate on a wall. Ain't gonna lie. Yeah. So, but who knows if I got something that big if I ever get on that Missouri River with Lyle and I do hook in it, fortunate enough to trip over a fish like that. I'm not claiming I'm an expert angler. Don't get all excited in chat. If I trip over a fish like that, I definitely would probably get a replica made. I hear they ain't cheap though, but maybe I'll just have Freddie burn me a plaque, the life-size plaque.
Life-size, that might take a while.
Well, you it's kind of like a side business of yours making those plaques, right? You've done a few for a lot of people in the community. You've done some trophies and stuff, right?
Yeah, I've made I started out just doing some little knickknacks for people, and then it's kind of turned into a side hustle, side business. And every year about this time, it gets really busy. I do Christmas ornaments for trees with family photos and stuff, and that usually is my big ticket item. Well, it started about last week. I had a couple orders, and it'll get busier for the next couple weeks with that. But it's something enjoyable. It keeps me busy, keeps my mind going, and it's fun, especially when it's a fish picture or a deer picture. Something like that where it's personal for that person who caught it or got that animal. So it makes me want to do my best job at getting it done. So it makes it look good for them.
You had made some I know you had made some trophies for the kids tournament that was on Roger's channel. That I think Josh's daughter won like all 3 classes of that, right?
Caitlin swept her category, her age bracket. So I've actually got to finish those up here by tomorrow, so I can get those in the mail to them.
So what do they look like for the people who don't know? Why don't you give us a description, not just show them?
Well, I'll show the people there and I'll describe it to our followers. It's your standard catfish cut out in a wood, about a 1/4 inch piece of plywood, and then it'll have their names burned into it with in Caitlin's part it'll have her name, what tournament it was, what the date it was, and then what category she won. So I've got to do 3 for her.
Yeah, and LG's Bass is saying you also fabricated a weight stand for him to weigh big fish easily by himself. I remember seeing pictures of those. That's kind of cool. It's got like a tripod type deal, correct?
Yeah, it's basically just like your deer skin and tripod. We just made it a little bit shorter so it'd be a little easier to grab your net and just hook it right on the scale,
Mm-hmm.
get it a couple inches off the ground, make it easier.
Yeah, Creole Catfish is asking, don't they charge like $100 an inch or something crazy like that? I guess he's talking about the replicas. I have no idea what they charge. I think it's something ridiculous. I don't know if it's that ridiculous, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of time to get something to look right. And if you get a good one, it's definitely worth it. I've seen some really, really good replicas, and I've seen a few really, really bad ones, to be honest with you. But we'll see. My neighbor here, Freddie, his father's a taxidermist and he does great work, but he's colorblind. His wife's a great painter, so they do teamwork. So he said he'd take care of me. Be lucky on that. He got people asking me where I would mount that. Probably right behind me. I don't think the wife would let me put it in my bedroom so I can stare at it every night before I go to bed. I'd like to do that. I don't think she'd let that happen. So how about you, Freddie? Where would you put them if you got them?
It would be probably in the living room in the corner with my horn mounts from my big deer, because that's about the only place they'll let me hang them in the house.
You do quite a bit of hunting too, right? Not so
Yes, sir.
much this year. I know you've been busy. So what do you like to hunt?
I'm a big deer hunter. I do like hunting turkey and squirrel as well, but my main, that's one of our main sources of food for the year. We try to fill the freezer every fall/early winter with deer meat, and that's pretty much the meat we eat 90% of the year.
Yeah, what's your favorite thing to make with venison?
Stew.
Stew? I can't
Stew and chili
complain.
are my 2 favorite.
Yeah, I like chili. Chili's good stuff. Chili with a little bit of sour cream and some cheddar cheese and some bacon crumbles on top. Don't get me started here. All right, Jeremy's Tournament Cats is asking, Freddie, what's your PB on the Cooper River?
Well, that would be from this past weekend, 22.98 pounds, which was the big fish of the day out of all the teams.
Congratulations on that one, too. It's always cool to fish new water, especially if you're fishing it with somebody you know.
Yeah, we had a blast on the water. That was mine and Jeremy's first time actually hanging out together. We cats, but actually just hanging out on the boat, fishing and hanging out. It was our first time, and we had a blast.
Did he bring you some Lunchables?
No, we didn't really eat much. We were too in depth in fishing. I'll just say that we brought some drinks, some Gatorades and waters. That was about it. We were just too concentrating on them fish, trying to beat Ohio.
Was he laser focused? I didn't really, when you, for everybody, again, for those listening, when you're watching the online tournaments, there's a bunch of people on screen. They all have their own box, say this on screen, their own little window in there. So you don't get to watch any 2 competitors constantly nonstop. So I didn't get a chance to see how laser focused you and Jeremy were, but was that the case? Were you guys like out there for blood or what?
Yeah, I'd say, well, until we got our 3rd fish on the boat, we were stressing out a bit. Once we hit that 3rd fish, you were like, all right, we've got our bag limit, because it was a 3 fish weigh. So, but we were definitely laser focused when we first started. And the first fish we caught was that 22.9. And as soon as we got that one, it was like, skunk off the boat. We can relax a little bit, but that tournament was stressful. I'll say that the last 30 minutes had both of us stressed out, because Ohio, they had a really tough bite. We had a so-so bite on the Cooper, but they had a really tough bite on Ohio. But they were still within, I think, 14 pounds at the end of it, 14 or 15 pounds behind us at the end of it. So that last 30 minutes, listening to that clock and watching it go down was like, biting your nails. Hurry up, Tom, go away.
Yeah, especially when you're in the lead. I've only fished in a couple of tournaments, and I'll tell you right now, for me, it was rough, to be honest with you. I was happy to get on the board and not come in last place, so I was grateful for all of that. But the guys that do it time after time after time, you got to be made for that. You got to be looking for that competition constantly being tested, because I know a lot of people that fish tournaments and they don't win every time. They don't win most of the time, but they live for those few times that they win. And look at you've come in first and second in 2 of my tournaments. You're doing pretty good this year with the Cooper, right? What else were you in? Were you in a couple other ones?
We had the couples tournament, which we were leading for a day or two there until there was a couple teams that I think we ended up finishing third in that. So with me and Nina, so that wasn't a bad showing either. And was in a few other little tournaments here and there. I don't even remember how many. I think I've been in almost every other tournament that's been in YouTube this year.
They're fun. They're fun to watch. Maybe I'll get more involved on some of them next year. So we'll see what happens. I gotta find the right tournaments. I obviously can't get into a blue cat tournament. We don't have them here. Maybe if I start traveling, but that's another story. But yeah, I feel a little sad I don't get to compete in them as much as I'd like to, but it is what it is. Anyway, so I understand you're starting a rod company, Freddie.
Yeah, that would be correct, Mark. Like I said, our wood burning started us off, but we decided to make it an actual company, and so officially we are FOA Customs and Gear LLC, and we're now a custom wood burning and fishing gear company. And our first piece of fishing gear is our 5 foot and 6 foot FOA double Y catfish rods.
That's quite a mouthful. How'd you come up with that big long name, Freddie?
Well, FOA is just short for Freddie's Outdoor Adventures, and then we went with the Customs and Gear for customs because of the wood burners, and gear for fishing gear, of course. So we had to kind of jumble it all together, and that's what we came up with.
Well, you do some 3D printing too, right?
I do. That's kind of just for the fun on the side. I've made some what they call Freddie Cat, some little 3D printed flexible catfish that we gave away a whole bunch of those. And then I've got some other little things in the works that may end up being part of the fishing gear assortment at one point. But that right now is just to the side.
Freddie froze, folks. Let's see if he comes through. You're back, Freddie. Hold on. You got a little bit of internet lag here. That'll happen when you're doing these online. I think you're back, bud. You back?
Yep. I'm good now, I think.
Are you gonna turn that into other fishing products? You don't need to tell us exactly what you're doing, but do you have anything in the works to utilize those 3D printers to make some fishing stuff?
Yeah, I've got a couple things I'm working on, some designs. I've got some more smart people than me on the computer that can help me design some different things I've got in my head. So we may end up turning a few products through 3D printing into the company as well.
Very cool. I know you'd mentioned one in our conversation in a group chat somewhere, and I thought that was a pretty good idea. I think you should definitely pursue that. I think there's a place for that. So you guys, if you haven't checked out Freddie, check out his YouTube channel. His link is in the description, because I imagine you're going to be making announcements and stuff for your product there, right?
Oh yeah, most definitely. That's where we're going to have everything at on our Facebook page, because we're not big enough yet to have our own website. Eventually, maybe later on down the road, but for now it's through our YouTube page, which is FOA Customs and Gear.
You got to start somewhere, right, Freddie?
That's right.
Absolutely. Jeremy Tournament Cat says, and by the way, FOA rods are very cool and will catch any fish in any water, in my opinion.
He got to see it firsthand, and he caught actually 2 fish on the FOA rods this weekend. So he got to see them in action and actually use them. So,
well, the shorter rods, do you have them geared for any anglers in particular?
Well, we designed them around two different groups. Our main focus was on our youth, our kids, which is, near and dear to my heart, because that's the next generation. You got to teach them how to do it, and why not give them something that's easier for them to handle than a big rod, make them a shorter rod. So that was the main concept. And then the second group that we focused was with the kayak anglers, because the kayak angler it's hard to deal with a long rod from the kayak. So we thought about those two things, kind of combined those two ideas together, and came up with the two rods we got.
Yeah, what kind of colors are you running?
Right now, we're just doing old classic colors. The main body is white with gray threading around the eyes. So
Classic colors, I like them already. I like a lot of the rods that are out there, but for some reason, me being the age I am, I stay with the standard stuff. That's just me in particular. So what's it like to get something like this off the ground, Freddie?
Nerve-wracking. I'll just say nerve-wracking and scary.
Yeah, can you give us some examples of what's so scary and nerve-wracking?
Well, when you take every bit of your life savings that you had saved up and dump it into an idea and not know if it's going to work, it puts you on pins and needles.
Well, I admire you for doing that. And capitalism is the way of this great country we live in. And if you don't take a risk, you're never going to get rewarded. Ain't that the truth?
And that's the way me and the wife looked at it. She knew I had the passion, and when I started designing them, she said, "Go for it. Go ahead and pull the money." And I only had enough for money for half of what the inventory I have, and was looking for an investor, and had one or two people to talk to me about it, and kind of were iffy about it. And next thing I know, my wife actually takes out a loan on the side, not me even knowing it, and becomes my sole investor in the company. So we were able to get not 100 of each rod, but we've got 200 of each rod in stock because of that. And she's actually a nurse, and she's working an extra shift every week to pay that loan back. So, that tells you got a good one there.
You ain't kidding. You and I are both lucky in that aspect, definitely. I kid around. I call her my chief financial officer. She kind of manages all that stuff as well. But for her to go out of her way to do something like Nina done, we ain't worthy sometimes, are we, Freddie?
No, not at all.
I don't know how else to say that. So Creole Catfish, it says, my young son got his 33.4 personal best on a FOA rod the very first time we threw it out there. Way to go. See, you're getting all
Creole was
sorts
one of our wonderful testers of the rods, and like you said, he went out one day, first cast, and his son caught his PB on it. So
I can't wait to get a hold of one or use one in the spring. Unfortunately, right now with the lakes and rivers starting to freeze up, it'll have to wait till spring to do that. But I look forward to putting a big flathead on one of those rods. I think it'll be a good time. Definitely. I like using those ice rods and stuff in open water, especially for channel cats. I don't see why that wouldn't be fun. So what the design process, how did that go? How did you go about it?
Looking at the big rods, and then I kind of took the idea between the big rod and the small Doc Demon / ice rods. I was like, I want something in between that. So design went in my head. I drew it down on paper, and I got to give a shout out to Uncle Lou because he was one that helped me step by step going through the process and got me into contact with the company to help me and everything. But I sent him pictures of my design, told him what I wanted to do. He gave me feedback, helped me through that process. And so I've got to give a huge shout out to Uncle Lee. I can't thank him enough, because without him and his help on this, I wouldn't be nowhere where I'm at right now.
Yeah, Lee's a good dude. He's always giving back, and whenever you try to give him something in return, he doesn't like it. It's not in so many words, but he's not looking for that. So, thank you, Uncle Lou. He helps out around here definitely too. I got to beg him. Well, I'm not going to get in all of that. So I ain't got to beg him for nothing is what I mean, in not so many words. So Lee, if you're listening, thanks, bud. We appreciate you. Definitely. Check out his planer boards. You use his planer boards?
I don't have a set. That's one thing I don't have that I'm going to get from him very
He
soon.
works his fingers to the bones making them things because he gets so many orders. But I think I haven't used any that have pulled out so fast or hard yet. So
Yeah,
I
I've
always,
seen them in action by Chad and D, and then Chris and Tully from Hooks and Hammocks. I've seen them in action, so I know I want some. But funny thing is, I'm actually using crappie boards for catfishing. I've got smaller boards that I use right now.
it's one thing I haven't done is trolled or used boards for crappie fishing. That's something I might want to try up here pretty soon. I live in Illinois too. If I don't have anybody else in the boat, I can only have 3 rods out max, but I'd get me a little bit of a spread. Maybe we'll get on some fish, but I don't know. I'd like to get 2 on each. I'd like to get 2 lines on each side and 2 out the back, and then we'd be good. We'd have to get somebody to come with me. If you're trolling in Illinois, for those of you listening, I believe you can have up to 3 rods. If you're anchored, you're supposedly only supposed to have 2. So that's pretty much the way it goes. There's a little, gray areas on that, but I kind of try not to go around it or try not to go that way. So Creole Catfishing again, he says, the rods are the size and weight of an ugly stick, but the backbone of an Uncle Lou's medium heavy. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. Everybody likes the backbone on those shorty rods.
Yeah, they're tough little rods. I can't be more impressed than the design and how they actually came out from the manufacturer. I mean, to me, they came out better than what I had in my head. So I'm very happy with the way they are.
Danny Stone says, I may have to break my own rule and name the new rod Freddie. Team Freddie and Betty. She likes short guys. We got Jeremy's Tournament Cat saying, I'll be getting some of them boards like Freddie has. They are perfect what I want to try out. There you go. See, bigger always isn't better unless it's in my case. Jacob wants to go fishing. I'm sure we can make something happen, Jacob. Thanks for coming in. So how do people get in touch with you to get a rod or multiple rods from you, Freddie? Oh, I think he froze up again.
Oh, they can just, if they've got Facebook. Oh, am I back?
Yep, you're back now.
Oh,
no, now you're not back. Hold on.
Had a notification pop up. It's messing me up.
Oh, that's okay. Now you're back, Freddie.
All right, good. They can, if they've got Facebook, they can check us out at FOA Customs and Gear. It has the link to email us and message us that way. If not, and they know they want some, they just email straight at foacustoms@yahoo.com. Tell us what they're looking, what they're wanting, what they're needing. We'll email them back and forth and go from there.
Cool. So you got rid of that other email that I adored?
No, I still have it. I just kind of tried to get it away from
okay. We won't talk about that email address. It's always been a kind of something we have a chuckle with here in the catfish community. So what else you got going on your YouTube channel? You got any plans, or are you going to be too busy selling rods, Freddie?
Well, like I said, hopefully come back springtime, we're going to start getting back into doing some lives and getting some video content.
Oh, you broke up again. Oh, Jacob wants to know, can he message you on Instagram?
He sure can. If he's got me on Instagram under I don't have a business Instagram. It's just my personal one. So yes, Jacob, message me on Instagram. We can talk, bud.
Get in touch with Freddie any way you can.
And if you do have my old email, which is IamPoohBear@Yahoo, you can contact me that way as well.
I think that's what I got you under my contacts with. And that's what I'm going to keep you under as far as I'm concerned. So cool. Well, Freddie, I appreciate you coming on and spending your evening with us. I know you got some plans, some family plans in the morning. So it was real good talking to you as always. I'm sure we'll be talking probably tomorrow. I want to thank everybody out there in podcast land for listening. I appreciate you. If you guys could hit the thumbs up on the way out of the YouTube channel, I'd appreciate it. If you could give me a good review on Apple or on Spotify, I'd appreciate it even more. Again, thank you to Fishbrain. Thank you to Amped Outdoors, Uncle Lou. Thank you very much. Thank you also to Multi-Bars, and thank you to Port Barrington Marina. You guys are awesome. Couldn't do this. Thanks to all the members out there in chat. You guys are great. Freddie, again, thank you. Everybody in chat, thank you. Have a great night. Peace. Go fishing, folks.